goddamn, would you look at me? Yo, I'm a lazy motherfucker, that's what everyone sees. Ain't it funny how you wanna be the best, but you can't even get up and get dressed? Wasted, face it, you're never gonna make it. Rockstar, you won't get far. I know you're confused. People tell you can be anything you wanna be. Wanna go to outer space, superhero in the streets. Damn, what a lie. What a time to be alive. How have I survived? Life's a battlefield. 1974. Takes hold, then I just might wind up dead. Wasted, face it, you're never gonna be the one. Rockstar, you won't get far. At least you had fun. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be, a king or a queen, as long as you got a dream. Oh no, it's a lie. They just wanna take your life, try to tell you it's a battlefield. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be. Wanna go to outer space, superhero in the streets. Damn, what a lie. What a time to be alive. How have I survived? Life's a battlefield. 1974.
and welcome into the Boise State Esports Arena. Tonight we have some very exciting NACE Super Smash Brothers Ultimate action for you here. It's pretty rare that we get to do Smash events in Boise State, and Smash is kind of like a newcomer on the esports scene, so we are super excited that this is coming into Collegiate Esports, and we're also super excited that all of our players are here tonight for some Halo, Rocket League, and other game action in the background. I'm your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action is Audrey Runa Norris. So tonight for NACE, this style of battle will be crew battle. In your opinion, what do you think is the strongest lineup to come out with?
Well, first to define, like what the strongest lineup would be, we have to actually understand what a crew battle is. So essentially what a crew battle is when you have a team. In our situation, we have 4 people on these teams. Each player has 3 stocks, and so they will play multiple games, and how it works is when a player is defeated by another player, they are out, and the other player who competed against them goes into the next round. So essentially, if that person, Team 1 has knocked out 2 of the other players and they've got all of their players left, the first person who started playing is going to play against the next person. And so, in my opinion, a lot of people, when they talk about lineups, right, they talk about mind games, stuff like that. What do you expect? I think, in my opinion, you really want to start with one of your stronger players at the beginning, but you shouldn't start with your strongest, because you want to have a really solid push at the beginning, but you don't want your first battle to be your last. So it's a good idea to always just kind of test the waters with one of your stronger players, but not get too focused on just trying to immediately destroy them.
Definitely great, and this is Boise State versus Texas Wesleyan. We're getting right into that game. Currently, we have Captain Falcon versus Wario going, and we kind of see both of them poking at each other. No damage, no! And then Wario's going to come out with that motorbike, and then there's a little bit of kind of dancing around each other a little bit. This is a fast-paced game.
Yeah, they're swinging left and right, not really making a lot of contact, just trying to figure out what's going on, except for now that Falcon has got some solid punches on as Wario tries to get the motorbike in again, but Falcon saw it this time.
It looks like there's a lot of spamming of abilities. A lot of them actually are just kind of testing the waters, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. In this case, I think Captain Falcon has the advantage, even as he gets back up from the edge there and gets thrown, keeps recovering back onto it. Wario's kind of juggling it in the air. That's what we see right there. Captain Falcon is back on the ground. That bike is not going to work this time. Wario is going through, but that time it sure will. Once, twice. Is not going to get the third touch, but Captain Falcon's going to get back onto that ledge as well as Wario. So now it is kind of an edge guard juggle game with both sides at launchable percentages.
Yeah, Wario just hanging off the edge there, waiting to get back on stage, now having the advantage over Falcon there. Ooh, gets a solid punch, though.
One of Captain Falcon's bigger abilities, and then couldn't even get back on the slide. Captain Falcon is just going to take him out there. Esports is going to take a little bit there to kind of check things out, wait a little bit. 93-0 is a massive advantage in Wario's favor, but it looks like Wario's just building up right now, 101 to 29.5.
Yeah, Falcon getting a few solid punches in there, pushing Wario off the side as he's waiting to initiate, and does a really solid block there, able to push Falcon back. But Falcon is, again, kicking him back and forth. It's just kind of a back and forth right now between the two.
Wario has gone up 46% since now 53. Captain Falcon has gone up about 30. So I definitely would say, even though Captain Falcon is up a stock and up in percentage, they're going to launch Wario to the upper left-hand corner of the map. Wario's going to come in, not right into that Falcon punch, going to shield it a little bit, try and get the backstab from behind, is unable to get that, and then gets it straight in from behind. But 105% of a lead, 2-stock to 2-stock.
Yeah, Falcon waiting right there as Wario tries to get him up into the air again, unsuccessfully, as Falcon is waiting for his moment there. Gets out the motorbike again as Falcon immediately blocks and punches. Just kind of waiting right now.
There's not a lot. We're seeing that the use of that motorbike as a projectile. Very, very slow, but ultimately very, very effective as it's going to break out there. Captain Falcon sending Wario launching to the upper right-hand corner. Will Wario be able to get back up? No, that recovery is just barely not enough there. Captain Falcon now up a stock and only 49% as Wario's at 0.
Wario does get a solid attack in there, able to dodge some of Falcon's recovery attacks as well. Currently about half of the percentage of Falcon right now as we're pushing in to this next spot. Just kind of waiting, dancing again. Tried to get in another solid Falcon punch, but Wario was waiting.
Excellent recovery, however, it does a little triangle pattern, going to get back into Wario there. Motorbike comes out since Captain Falcon flying. Falcon's going to chase Wario down. Neither side is able to get a lot of juggling. Both go flying to opposite sides of the map. Captain Falcon's looking for that recovery. Not going to walk it right into that punch. Wario tried. Wario did not get it. Now both tags are kind of... There was a little bit of poking there. Wario goes flying, is unable to get the recovery. No! He gets it! Fantastic job! But there isn't any recovering from that. So, because this is a crew battle, Captain Falcon won that first round, right? Captain Falcon still has 2 more stock to go against the remaining members of Boise State. And just in case that was not clear there, that was the Boise State Wario and the Texas Wesleyan Captain Falcon. What did you see a lot of that match?
You know, at first they were really just kind of testing the waters there, but as soon as we got into like the first stock from Wario was taken, it was immediately just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for a while there. So, and then after, again, another stock was taken, we were back into that slower testing them out thing. So it was kind of interesting to see kind of the way that it progressed from like high action to slow, trying to figure out what was going on there. Just, yeah.
What do you think about the juggling? Would you like to see more of it? Do you expect to see more of it?
I mean, I always love watching juggling in Smash. It's definitely a little bit harder because Falcon was getting a lot of good aerials on Wario, but Wario is a little bit of a heavier character, so he's harder to juggle. But Wario also did get a couple solid juggles in there, so it'll be interesting to see what characters are played next, because although juggling is really great, it's also really dependent on weight of the character and how high you can actually get them up before they can recover.
And we do have the ability to just get straight into the next match, so we're going to go ahead and see what that holds for us. Texas Wesleyan is starting with, again, a little bit of an advantage. They have 2 stock, whereas Boise State went down all 3. It looks like we're going Sephiroth, at least, for someone. We're still kind of
getting set up on the stage right now.
What do you think of the Sephiroth pick?
Sephiroth is interesting. Like, I don't know a lot about him because I didn't play... Like, I didn't play him yet, but I have seen that he can be really powerful in some situations as long as you're using him correctly, and I know he has some very strong abilities. I think it'll be interesting against Falcon because he does have a really good range, which will be really helpful because Wario had a lot shorter range, and so when Falcon was coming in with Falcon punches and kicks, made it a lot harder for him to get in. So I think that Sephiroth will be a really solid pick for this just so he can kind of keep him at bay.
Do you think that it will be a distinct weight difference between the 2 characters if Captain Falcon is played again?
I don't think so. They're somewhat close. I know that one of them is probably I think Sephiroth weighs a little bit more, but I don't think there's going to be a huge weight difference here, especially because like if we're talking about like a Donkey Kong versus someone, like there's a very big weight difference normally. Just like no one's really going to outclass the gorilla, but. For like more of the humanoid characters, they tend to be similar. It just kind of depends. Though Sephiroth is really tall, so.
With the exception of Ganondorf, I will say.
That's true.
And Rosalina. Rosalina is another one of those weighted characters where she is actually incredibly heavy.
She's so heavy.
You wouldn't imagine that she would be, and she's that way in Mario Kart as well.
It's true,
Are there any other expected heavy or expected light characters that kind of like throw you off a little bit?
I think it's not necessarily about weight, but like Pac-Man always throws me off because he just has such good recovery and jumps. Like my brother loves playing Pac-Man, and every time I play against him, I'm like, I don't want to do this right now, dude.
You're like, I don't know that.
He's like, just get out, please.
Sometimes it feels unfair to give a heavy character. They're resetting the stocks right now. That's what Captain Falcon is doing. Get a little bit of a taunt there. We're in the poke phase. Captain Falcon is going to get the first 7% on the Sephiroth there. It looks like. Ooh, Captain Falcon's the only one getting poken. Sephiroth is going to get that vertical recovery onto the map, but is just going to get boxed in by Captain Falcon and bopped a little bit. This is a very edge. No, right as I say that, they go straight into the middle of the map.
Yeah, Sephiroth now able to push Falcon off the edge there with a solid recovery from Falcon. Timing it right with those platforms, but trying to now get a better hit in, just waiting to get that shot off on Falcon, who is expertly guarding there with a perfect parry.
Ooh, but that range Sephiroth is going to come in and get at least another 10% in there as the map just kind of barely stages. We see those little platforms on the side. Sephiroth should be able to recover. Is going to get back onto the edge, avoid getting juggled up into the air, and now actually has the advantage. Edge camping. Captain Falcon is going to get it as well as Sephiroth. Sephiroth is going to be sent flying again, and now it is Captain Falcon chasing him down onto that edge. This is kind of a dangerous game.
Yeah, they're playing a lot more edge this time with it just jumping back and forth with the solid recoveries there, and a lot of shields right now as Sephiroth again goes off the edge, pushes Falcon off, tries to follow him for the recover, but Falcon was able to get above him, so he couldn't pull that off.
Ooh! And Sephiroth is going to go flying and should be able to get this recovery off the bottom of the map there. Is going to slide in. Now we are in launchable territory. Both of these people just need a couple more solid good hits to be sending the other flying. And there is that Falcon kick that will be instrumental in trying to launch Sephiroth off the map. We're seeing what kept both of them. They're kind of poking and dancing around each other right now.
Yeah, Sephiroth is waiting right now. He does have one of his wings though, so he's a little bit more dangerous right now. But unfortunately, Falcon does get the first solid hit there.
More dangerous, so must be eliminated. And there is no more poke phase. They're immediately just back at each other in the brawl right there. Sephiroth is going to be able to recover with that straight smash, and then they're going to go down straight onto Captain Falcon, but get blocked. I gotta say, Captain Falcon with the blocks is huge. Not able to block that, so goes flying to the right side of the map. And now, up the right-hand corner, Sephiroth getting the juggles in. Gonna miss that third hit.
Yeah, Falcon's just waiting now. He's in very dangerous territory, but he does manage to get the jump on Sephiroth and get the hits before Sephiroth launches him off the side.
There it is, and 47 is not a massive lead to have. Sephiroth is in a very good position, even as Captain Falcon gets a couple more hits in. We're back to the double platforms on the left and right-hand side of the map, which is very, very big. Sephiroth is going to send him over on that platform. Looks to be where we're having the fight, and on the edge of the map, this is a little bit of an edge play of a game. Sephiroth is the wrong way a couple of times now. Now we're on the right side of the map. Sephiroth is going to have to get that recovery. Walking right into Captain Falcon.
Yeah. Blocking right there, but Sephiroth does manage to get Falcon and shoot him off the side there. Trying to go for the block, but could not get him off the side there. As Falcon is now trying to get it, but Sephiroth gets in another nice timed hit. Pushing, keeping on the map, trying to push him, but he does manage to grab the ledge there.
Just a couple of that missed projectile there. That's going to let Captain Falcon back on. Captain Falcon comes back on again, just walking straight into Sephiroth's hand. Sephiroth will get the smack there, chasing him off the edge. Both sides are able to recover, so we are back on the map. Now we have 3 platforms, 1 left, 1 right, and 1 main, slightly lower. Sephiroth is going to chain Captain Falcon all the way from the left to the right-hand side of the map, and Captain Falcon's got no, he's not able to get out of it. He's going to get the his toes smacked as he goes off the edge of the map. What's the biggest thing that you think gave Sephiroth an advantage against Captain Falcon?
I think that it really helped him when they started playing off the side a lot, because Sephiroth has some really good just abilities to get him with the recovery. And then I also noticed at the end there, he started to anticipate Falcon's attacks, and that was really helping him because he was able to wait just outside of Falcon's range. And like we had talked about before with the long range sword, was able to immediately counterattack with the sword and then push forward.
So, you know, that 7-foot sword isn't just for show. I mean, it goes really, really well against Captain Falcon in this case. And so now we saw it was Texas Wesleyan with the advantage first round. Now Boise State has the advantage. What do we need to do to keep that advantage?
They'll definitely have to be really careful because they are going to be starting with only 2 stocks. And so it'll be really interesting to see what their picks are because, as we saw, it could definitely affect a lot of different things. But I do think that something that'll be really important for them is if they follow Doc's keys.
And Doc's keys, I mean, is the help that we need right now to keep this lead. Doc's keys to the game in Super Smash Bros. Punish openings, look for the 2-frame, win in neutral, don't forget to taunt, absolutely. Doc's keys to the game are brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. So, I mean, we have our win cons. Are there any particular picks that you might like to see in these next upcoming matches?
You know, I have always loved Bowser. I know he's not always the best competitive character, but he's one of my favorites for just messing with people because one of his abilities is literally just a grab, and no one expects it because they're like, oh, I'm just going to charge Bowser, and then you go, whoop.
Absolutely
Smash.
not. You cannot just
it's like, nice
Bowser.
try.
It's like, nice try. Get body slammed by one of the heaviest characters in the game. Another, on the tangent of, like, heavies, someone that I don't expect to see, but that would be really interesting to see is Ganondorf.
Oh, yeah.
Ganondorf, I think, is always very interesting to see in a competitive setting because Ganondorf is so heavy, so relatively hard to launch, but he's also very slow, which is the downfall of a lot of heavy characters, but, like, truly exemplified, I feel, at least, by Ganondorf.
Oh, yeah.
So you almost have to have, like, future sight to be able to hit some of those hits.
You have to be really good about your openings with him, and he has some really fun synergy with his abilities. I love watching when a player does a solid combo with him. But it does look like we're going to go into the next match. Looks like Cloud! Oh, the rematch that we're looking for right now.
So, again, this is the evening of stock. Sephiroth is not just trolling. We see both of them reset on other sides, get a little bit of the taunted, and now the poke begins. But Cloud outranges Sephiroth currently. He's going to be able to get 12.8% in there before the fight truly begins. 11, Sephiroth almost evening it out with a single hit.
Yeah, with Sephiroth now being able to get some of the advantage, except now Cloud does get a solid hit off on him as they're just pushing back and forth, trying to break each other's shields right now. Doing some really solid dodges. Sephiroth does have that range advantage with the swords, though, that are really helping him out right now, just getting some solid picks off.
Poke by poke, kind of getting Cloud in the air a little bit there. There's a little bit of them dancing around each other right now. Sephiroth has the advantage, gets 1 hit, 2 hit, not going to get the 3rd hit onto Cloud there. Cloud is going to be able to block. There's the first hit of the newest combo, going to send him flying to the top left corner of the stage. Cloud is going to do it again, guarding this edge, not letting Cloud get back on without consequences.
Yeah, now they're just waiting. Cloud has to be really careful as he's charging his limit, and like we said, Sephiroth launches him off there.
And it looks like he's waiting for Cloud to kind of reset, like doing some little hops, like come on, come on. And then they're back in it, 60-0. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable lead for Sephiroth to have right there. Yeah. They're going to get launched into the air, but immediately get back onto the ground, back where they want to be in a comfortable position. Cloud's going to charge and then get kind of popped for it. 79-38, now 89-38. Sephiroth is slow. That lead is slowly going down. Sephiroth is getting into more and more dangerous territory.
Yeah. Cloud does manage to get a really solid shot off of him there, but does not continue to punish, just trying to charge his limit right there as Sephiroth approaches again. Again, trading some shots right there, back and forth. Again, continuing to charge the limit as Sephiroth is just waiting, man. But he does get launched off the side. Cloud tries to...
Sephiroth was locked in the animation, so Cloud is going to hit that and now has limit fully charged, so is very dangerous, but Sephiroth has the 1 wing as well, is able to get back onto the map. I think the next person that lands a big hit is going to, launch somebody off the map.
There it goes.
Exactly. Ooh, the dishonor, the star. The only thing worse is hitting the screen.
Cloud's limit is almost charged up right now. I said he's at 92%, so he does manage to get it fully charged there. So Sephiroth is going to have to be careful and make sure he doesn't get anywhere near him, but the limit, I guess the limit's gone, never mind.
But with 0 to 122, I mean, you have a pretty big advantage there, and is able to keep the range, just keep him off the edge there. Cloud is kind of waiting to respawn, maybe adjust some strategy, getting some limit charge on the way back down. Sephiroth, trying to set up for a juggle, is not able to get Cloud off the ground just yet. 0 to 18%, both on the 0 to 26, 36. Sephiroth is getting those dinks in there with 10% apiece. It looks like 1-to-1 stock. This is where we really want to start paying attention here as these two people reconvene after dodging each other for a little bit.
Yeah, Sephiroth is just not letting Cloud back on stage there, and he's keeping him off guard right now, just not letting him get that limit off, though he does have to be careful because it is active and Cloud could use it. But he isn't just letting him get near him right now, using that longsword to his advantage and blocking it. There he goes, launching him off the side again into a KO.
There it is. I love to see the projectiles actually land, and not gonna lie to you, Sephiroth's a beautiful man. So even though Sephiroth is not on the Boise State team, I do love to watch the way he moves in those combat encounters, and I am pretty happy that we got to see the Sephiroth versus Cloud because, I mean, just in the game, the villain versus their hero. And with that, we are about halfway through. So we are going to throw to a quick break, but stick around because we have more Smash action between these two teams. They're very closely matched.
Oh, yeah.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Protecting your customer journey from fraud is critical. According to industry analysts, Count's AI-driven platform is the leading solution. From account login to digital payments, Count is recognized for both its customer impact and technology excellence. Learn more at Count.com.
Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are back at it with our NACE Smash action. This is still Boise State versus Texas Wesleyan. Both teams are evenly matched right now. They're each down 2 players, and so we're gonna see within these next couple of stocks, this will be a very determinant match and very important to watch. But before that, we have a couple of replays before we get back into the game. I'm still your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me tonight is Audrey Runa Norris. Actually, no, we just got word from production that we're keeping this train rolling. We are going straight into game. And it looks like Sephiroth's already down.
And look who it is. We were talking about this earlier. It's Ganondorf.
Would you look at that? So Sephiroth does only have a single stock there, and it does look like Sephiroth has been able to take a single stock off of Ganondorf, even as they're closer to... Oh, Sephiroth is doing it to him right now, 1-1. 115 is honestly pretty close to 0 when you're going against Ganondorf, because it's just as easy to launch you, no matter where you are.
Yeah. You do have to be very careful with Ganondorf, too. His attacks are so powerful that Sephiroth could get hit by just one and he'd be out.
No, yeah,
but it looks
exactly.
like... That wasn't what happened. His recovery isn't great.
And then there's Sephiroth again. Texas Wesleyan 4, Boise State 5. Glorious. We love to see the Sephiroth plays. And, I mean, that was pretty quick.
That was very quick, yeah. From what we could see, yeah, it was very quick.
Definitely. And putting Boise State at an advantage. We are 5 and Texas Wesleyan is at 4. So now, before we get it's a shame we didn't. It's a shame that Ganondorf just got Sephiroth
steamrolled
so
there at the end there. Just Sephiroth was like, okay, there's the ledge. There you go.
Sephiroth's like, I'm not getting near that. Absolutely not. Which is ultimately the strategy. So now we're rediscussing the topic of hero picks. Is there anybody that you would like to see? Other than Bowser and
So we saw Ganondorf already.
Briefly.
We've been talking about heavy characters, so... You know, another fun one I always love is Link. Now that we've seen Ganondorf, maybe Link. I like Link. He's a lot of fun. I know that the bow can be a little hard to use, but I love the way he flies with his sword. We love when the Master Sword just does a little... He's essentially just, a little flying copter. It's great. He's a really fun character. The bombs are also really good if you know how to set them up, because you can always knock someone off the edge, throw the bomb, time it right, and then that person just doesn't get to recover.
Mm-hmm. Link can be a serviceable spacer, but with that sword is also kind of one of the sword lords of the game, and so can be very, very devastating in melee range. Another character, while we're talking about like sword lords and melee range, I feel like it's very important to talk about one of the OG sword lords, which would be Marth, right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
Marth.
like he's out there, you land the tip, and they go bye-bye, and they go across the map. And I have a lot of history with Marth, so I just think it would be absolutely amazing to see him get some playtime, even though he's not as powerful as he was in games like Brawl.
Yeah, it would be interesting because, you know, there's a lot of Fire Emblem characters now, like when you look at the roster. And so it'll be kind of interesting to see how, if any of them get picked, I mean, they have a high chance with how many of them are.
And it seems like now we have those replays. We're not going immediately into a game, so we have a little bit of time to go from our replay from some of our previous rounds. No!
Never mind.
We are just kidding. We are getting straight into that game. This train doesn't stop for anybody. Sephiroth, evening the stocks. This Minecraft Steve, I'm honestly super excited to see Minecraft Steve. So, okay, I'm not quite sure what happened. I'm excited that we get to see the Enderman going ahead and winning the game. It's very sad to see Sephiroth kind of doing his little sad boy clap there. So...
We have Steve now.
So we can discuss Steve as a hero a little bit.
Yeah, Steve is a very interesting character compared to, like, pretty much every other Smash character that you'll see, because none of the other characters are like, oh yeah, let me just go over to the other side of the arena and just start mining, looking for my stuff, upgrade my items. I mean, there's definitely some progression systems in there, but none of them are as active as Steve, where you really got to start looking for your stuff. But once he gets his stuff, you got to be really careful about it.
And on these stages, what do you think are some of the best ways for you to get space as we get into this next game? No, and it actually looks like it just straight up is Steve getting... launching Sephiroth in that minecart, 36-30.
Another minecart throw right there, just putting up his blocks too. Sephiroth is trying to get a couple sword swings off there, only managed to hit one though, as Steve immediately fires back with the pickaxe, or I guess the Enderman right now.
Oh my gosh, just the way that this Steve is moving around right now, it's fantastic. Is leaving all these blocks, so Sephiroth is just like in this chase game. It feels like even though the percentages are equal, Sephiroth is chasing him down, and it looks like, found him, gonna get that elimination.
Yeah, now Steve doing a little bit more mining as they're waiting. Sephiroth is just waiting below him, hoping to get a hit off there. Does get to manage to get a solid hit, but they both shield for a second there. Not sure what the other one was going to do.
It looks like as we go around here poking, Steve is not able to get a ton of space. Going to drop that ammo, give himself a little bit there. Unable to hit Sephiroth. Going to do a little bit of building in that corner there. Craft in this, we have entered the Stone Age, it looks like, as he's going to get around that corner. And he's just getting juggled off that ledge by Sephiroth right now. Ooh, and eliminated again. Man, the Sephiroth carry for Boise State.
Yeah, trying to create a little wall between him and Sephiroth there for a second, but Sephiroth is not having it, demanding that action right there. But he does get pushed off by a minecart in response. And another failed anvil attempt that would have been really awesome if it hit, but unfortunately, he's just going to have to send Sephiroth right back with another minecart.
And now it is Sephiroth getting camped off of the edge, just repeatedly, which is giving Steve some space to get some mining in. I don't know if Sephiroth can recover from that, just barely gonna miss it. And that is Sephiroth finally out, which has been absolutely a thorn in Texas Wesleyan's side. So I'm sure they're thrilled, even though they're 4 to Boise State's 7.
They do have to be careful. The Steve does have one stock. However, they did get Sephiroth out of the way, and that has been pretty nasty for them so far.
They weren't ready.
Oh, no.
So is there anything with Steve that you'd like to see some more of in these next couple of matches?
You know, I really like the way that they were building up the walls, and not like a full wall, but just putting up enough blocks that it made it really hard for especially a tall character like Sephiroth to just like get anywhere. And I was like, I've never seen people play Steve like that before, so I was like, I'd love to see more of that. That was really cool. Of course, it's also really amusing to watch people get launched off the side with minecarts, because like
it's just hilarious because their animation, and especially with Sephiroth because his hair is so long, so you just see this still frame of hair just like stuck as he gets drug off the edge, and you're like, that should be moving, but it's not, which just adds to the whole comedy of the whole thing. And the thing that I particularly liked watching about Steve was after he would build the walls, right, he would use Elytra to get from one side of the map to the other and then reset the whole thing again, which actually enabled him to keep Sephiroth at a distance for a relatively long time, even though he wasn't getting a ton of damage in.
Yeah, the only thing that I wished we got to see a little bit more, or at least pulled off at least once, was the anvil. Just unfortunately missed every time. But oh man, imagine if the Minecraft cart had just gone over the edge and Sephiroth had tried to jump, and nope, anvil. Just boom, you're gone.
And that's another one of those abilities where we were talking about like how Ganondorf, you need to have like future sight to hit some of his abilities. I would say the anvil is very much like that.
Yeah, you either have to be playing against someone really slow that has just a super slow character so they're easy to anticipate, or you have to be thinking like 5 steps ahead of someone else and get them right into the position you need them to be.
Frame perfect, get the anvil, get the elimination, and then you're there. Now, we do have a couple of replays before we get into our last and final, well, maybe final matchup. It might just keep going.
We don't know.
Texas Wesleyan is going to have to pull off the somewhat legendary reverse sweep if they want to keep this alive. And it looks like actually, no, we're not going into replays. We're just going straight into it.
So what's interesting about this, actually, is that Texas had their Falcon at the start. Now Boise State is pulling out their Falcon, so we'll get to see a little bit of like different players playing the same character.
Gotta say, the pink Captain Falcon, I think is, already superior in terms of skin as we go here. There was a little bit of some building of the blocks going around. Texas Wesleyan 4, Boise State 6, as both teams kind of poke at each other here. We see that minecart with nobody in it, just getting mined a little bit. 3 platforms, left, right, and center. They're gonna go away as these two continue to exchange some blows and move across the map.
Yeah, Steve right there recovering with the Elytra and then getting bonked off by the Falcon kick right there in midair.
That was just the people's knee? Is that what we want to call that?
Seems fair. That's one of the dangers of playing with light characters, though, like Steve, is if you get even like low percentages can be really scary against strong attacks. Like Falcon. Falcon has such a strong just set of abilities that even light characters, well, no, just light characters like Steve have to be super careful because it's like, oh, I'm 40%, it's fine. No, the people's knee will come in.
The people's knee? I do love that. I mean, there's the Falcon Punch or the Falconeer. We could call that with the Falcon people's knee. Do we like that? So do you have any thoughts on that kind of short and sweet match that we just watched?
You know, I think there's a really interesting thing to be said about, like, long matches, because they show that there's just, you know, like, they're really fun to watch, but sometimes there's something just really satisfying about a couple altercations happening and then just a perfect, solid timing play as someone gets knocked out like that. And we don't get to see that a lot in normal Smash, because typically you start with an even amount of stocks, and so unless the player, like, one of the players is playing really rough and they just keep getting knocked over the side over and over and over again, they're like, it's going to take a while. But with the crew battles, sometimes you'll just have a really, really quick ending like that, because there's only, it's a 1v3 stock, and so you just, that one person just made one little mistake and they're gone.
And then they're immediately gone, just because that's the nature of who you get through and who you don't get through, which adds a lot of interest to Smash. Is there anybody that you'd like to maybe begin the discussion for player of the game?
I will say Sephiroth was doing a really good job
Definitely.
there. Just like it was a really rough first match between Falcon and Wario. Like, Wario got off a lot of really good hits there, but the Falcon was just kind of keeping him at bay, and then Sephiroth came in, just managed to get him, and just couple other people just really off balance there, and was able to keep the team just like together.
I do have to say, I think that one, so usually I try to be different than my co, but Sephiroth, man. I mean, and this is not just because Sephiroth is objectively a beautiful man, right? Like, the player of Sephiroth, what started as like a relatively even match between Texas Wesleyan and Boise State, kind of flipped in Boise State's favor as soon as that Sephiroth came out and just eliminated person after person after person, just because their like, the way that they managed their space was so perfect.
Yeah, the sword is just so good at keeping people at bay, especially some of the characters that they were facing against. I mean, like, just overall, if they can time not only the, like, their timed effect that they have when they put it on someone and just over time just waits to explode, with keeping them away from them until that happens, it's insane. And then, of course, he had some really solid ranged attacks, like in the Cloud fight that we watched. He was just able to keep Cloud from being able to recover just by doing some really good timing with that, which is something we didn't see a lot, actually, today. A lot of the timings were missed, unfortunately.
Which was also really interesting because Cloud actually began that matchup outranging Sephiroth, and then it just switched. Like, Sephiroth completely changed playstyles and was like, no, I'm going to be the one that keeps you at a distance. So we will have to see who our player of the game ends up being.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. There was a lot of really good plays from everyone there at some point. Like, just really, just a moment where it was a great opening, and then they just managed to get a stock. Like, because stocks were taken every game on either side. There was no, I don't remember any match where someone came out with 3 stocks.
And I think to help in our player of the game discussion, we did have a couple of replays that we were unable to play, but now that the maps seem relatively finished, there seems to be a lull. I think now would be the time to kind of pull those replays up and discuss them a little bit. This is Sephiroth versus Captain Falcon. I think this is, yes, this is the Boise State map.
Yes. This is what we were talking about, where he was able to come in and just kind of take this match and really push it forward here. Falcon is getting, like he's talking about, he was doing a really good job controlling the field for a bit, but then Sephiroth got that last little hit on him.
Because as we saw there, Boise State was actually, like, down to Texas Wesleyan. It was 8-11, and so now as we kind of, like, go around here, do you have any final thoughts before we either move into our next game or our player of the game highlight reel?
I think I don't really have, like, a lot of final thoughts for this game. It's like, they've all been playing really well, and I think that it's just, like, overall, I think that, like, player-wise, they were all really evenly balanced, like, in skill. So it was a very enjoyable match to watch. Like, all of the matches were enjoyable to watch because of that.
So we're going to keep the highlight reel alive. We have some more of those to play, and we're just going to keep it rolling with that. And this is more Sephiroth. Again, Sephiroth versus Cloud. Sephiroth down a stock, but Cloud up in percentage, as we see here. And then it's just going to get bopped right off that map. Got a little bit too greedy there, trying to charge the limit. And now we see 8-8 instead of 9-8. This is like the slow tick down that gave Boise State the advantage. And I think we have a couple more replays after that we'd like to just immediately get into. Wario has got
this is the first match too with Falcon and Wario, where Falcon was very close, like one solid hit away right here from going down, but did manage to get some really solid attacks off of Wario, keeping him off the stage there for a little bit as they just went back and forth. This is when they actually started to play more on the edge, because in the very beginning of that match, they were staying very close to the middle.
Very close in the middle, especially like in the poke and in the where they were just trying to like figure each other out phases. So now that we have a number of replays to look at, is your player of the game still the same, or do you have any final thoughts on that?
I think the man with the good hair is gonna stay as my my pick.
Love it. I mean, same here. So we'll have to see if we're correct as we see the player of the game come up. Captain Falcon flying. Falcon's gonna chase Wario down. Neither side is able to get a lot of juggling. Both go flying to opposite sides.
So
actually, there is no player of the game. So we just straight up get to pick that on desk. It looks like. So, and I would say. Wario goes flying, is unable to get the recovery.
I would say that in these replays, we see Captain Falcon versus Wario. Wario's going to go off the map. That was one of the most defining traits in there. And
it seems like we maybe have a couple more games to go into, so we're going to go right into that.
Or more replays, apparently.
We still have more replays.
Yeah, Sephiroth is just not letting Cloud back on stage there, and he's keeping him off guard. This is the, again, this was the part where Sephiroth was just keeping away from Cloud. Like, they were doing the little dance dodge because Cloud had his limit, and they had to be really careful about that. But as we saw previously, if Cloud does get knocked out or, waits too long, limit's gone. And that was the opening that Sephiroth needed there to knock him off the stage, get that, like we talked about, that ranged attack on him and get him out before he could do anything about it.
There was also another one, and we'll see if it's in one of the next couple of replays, but Cloud had the limit bar maxed out, and Sephiroth was just like, I'm going to stay at a distance to you and just knock you off the edge of the map. This is the Steve versus Sephiroth fight. The Elytra, the walling, the building. You can see he's just training him around the map. This Steve is moving
you can see too, like we were talking about, just like small dirt blocks and just a lot of minecarts just trying to keep Sephiroth away from him, because Steve does not have the same range that Sephiroth does. And as you can see that last little bit there, that when Sephiroth did manage to get close enough, it was good to go, and just like he was able to get him, knock him out, keep Steve off the map. But Steve did a really good job of keeping him away for most of the match up until Sephiroth did manage to push the momentum back.
Definitely, and we did just get word that we do still have one more player. This is our 10-minute break, which is why we're doing so many replays and a little bit of player discussion and kind of like a teaser for what will happen later on in the night. We see more of this kind of Elytra play, and then just the people's knee. The people's knee just send him straight off the map with that, only with 100%. We've seen characters stay in at like 130 to 150. So this just goes back to what you were talking about earlier. Steve is a very light character. And do you have any particular threads of advice to offer light characters in this break?
Whenever you're playing a light character, you just have to really watch your percentages. Like when you're playing a heavy character, like I personally really loved playing Incineroar when the game first came out, because that was just I played that game. I played that Pokemon game. I loved that starter. I know not everyone loves that starter. I like that starter, so people can deal with that. But he's super heavy, so when you're playing against him, he can be up in the 250s, and he'll still be looking at you like, really? What are you gonna do? You poke him off the edge. So for light characters, you have to be super careful, because you aren't like that. You have to watch those percentages, otherwise you'll get knocked off. But it doesn't look like that's going to be as much of a problem here, because we are playing, the Wario and Cloud are both semi, medium weight characters. They're not going to be super, there's not a huge difference between the two, though I do think Wario is a little bit heavier.
Wario's pretty heavy as we get in the middle there. Both of them are past the poke phase. They're in the straight up punching. We see Wario versus Cloud here. Cloud is at pretty close to maximum limit there, but the bike is going to come out, and send him off. Ooh, the smack! Snap, crapple, pop as we go in there. Cloud, but Wario needs to be very, very careful, kind of trying to keep some space. Launch that bike at him. He's maybe trying to get the projectile throw. Not quite there, getting a little bit of poke, just trying to stay away, getting the shield, actually getting a good bit of damage in there. And now Cloud no longer has that limit, has been able to stall that out. An amazing job.
Yeah, Wario was just dancing around him up in the air, trying to avoid that limit at all costs, and now is able to launch him in the air himself, keeping him off balance as Cloud is now trying to get a few aerial hits off. The motorcycle does come out, does not land. Cloud does push up, knocking him in the air, and there's about a 20% difference now in damage that Wario is now able to keep that push up on Texas right now, though Cloud does get a really solid combo off there.
So as Cloud is back now into that 100 limit there, and It is 121 to 120, so any hit could end it for either of these heroes as we kind of go into the middle there. Warrior trying to keep some distance, but also really wants to get that hit in and kind of finish this up. That limit is now out, so Wario's opportunity is now or never kind of going in here. There it is. They choose now as they send Cloud to the upper right-hand corner of the screen.
Yeah, now just kind of waiting, dancing around again, doing a couple hops as the motorcycle gets pulled out. Cloud is trying to get in close so he can get as many hits in as possible, but Wario is keeping him away, trying to not get hit immediately, which does make sense. He is at the point where a really solid hit is going to send him off no matter what he does. Cloud charging the limit too.
Is actually just going to take that bike and try to get some It's a very slow throw though, so they're not able to get that onto Wario. 164 to 8. Wario's still in this though, but getting launched further and further with every hit he takes. Currently not taking any, so they just kind of dodge around each other, and both of them are like missing their shot. That gonna get run over. Cloud just a little bit there as we go in. Now we are on the bottom right half corner of the map. Cloud kind of taking advantage of that high ground as we rotate back into the mid.
Yeah, both of them sitting right now in the middle area, which is really helpful for Wario, keeping him from going to his death, but Cloud is trying to get a really solid shot, which he doesn't manage to do as Wario manages to knock him off the side before he even gets a chance. And then Cloud just comes right back down and pushes him off.
Well, yeah, I mean, Wario was at 168 and took 2 stops. Cloud with 100. Great. And then as we go in there, it sees that bike 0 to 0, even reset. Cloud's limit is about at half there. Now definitely at half. Now looks like more like 70%. So Wario might need to start being careful, even though they are at a percentage advantage just by barely 3%.
Yeah, dancing around the middle again, but Wario does manage to get a solid hit on him, trying to launch him into the air. Cloud doesn't have it, and his limit is at 100% now. Dodges the bike, tries to go for the hit, but misses, as Wario tries to go in for a bite as well. Now they're just kind of waiting there to see what's going on. Watch out, Cloud, with your limit there.
It looks like as we go here, they're both kind of like getting a little bit of feisty in the middle. 60 to 65, very, very evenly matched in terms of percentage. Wario is heavy though, so it might be more to take him off there, which is why Cloud is starting that limit. And now we see in the middle, now in the bottom right, Cloud is very, very close to 100 and actually is at 100. Very dangerous for Wario here. Just needs one good hit in that time limit there.
And there it goes.
There it is, but Wario's still in. 92 to 87, and it looks like as we're getting a little bit of frame lag there, the limit was just too hard. And Wario's going to be sent into the air, but it looks like they'll be able to make it back into the stage, and we are back in the mid.
Wario throws the bike there for a second, but Cloud doesn't really think much of it as he just continues to fire ranged after ranged attack after Wario, who is now only about 10% away from making up that gap that they have right now. Just needs to keep pushing, which Cloud does not let him do. Launches him into the air. Wario picks up the bike again, trying to get another round off with the riding. Cloud just blocks it though, not having any of it.
Cloud is in very dangerous territory, 102 and only 1 stock left, and the last one Texas Wesleyan adds to their name there. And then as we see here, we've got 3 stocks best of 3, and then Cloud is going to be sent off of the map. It looks like he's going to be able to recover, but Wario's guarding that edge. Now it is 1 to 1, 0 to 126%.
Cloud's charging his limit, trying to get as much of it in before Wario starts the altercation, but Wario does get some really solid shots in on him as they are pushing in. Apparently this is our second crew battle, so it's not the last game.
Oh, definitely, great. Fantastic as we go in there. Wario versus Cloud. Cloud is just kind of doing their thing there on the edge. Both sides are able to recover, but Wario is going to take him out. And that is, it looks like Wario's going to come out victorious against Cloud there.
You know, after everything that happened in the first rounds that we watched where Wario did get defeated by Falcon, it's kind of nice to see him come back and actually get the win there. Yeah.
And so, stick around. We do have more NACE action versus Texas Wesleyan tonight. But before that, we're going to go to a break. Now, it's on about 30.
Protecting your customer journey from fraud is critical. According to industry analysts, Count's AI-driven platform is the leading solution. From account login to digital payments, Count is recognized for both its customer impact and technology excellence. Learn more at count.com.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena here tonight. We are still Texas Wesleyan versus Boise State. Boise State has gone up 1 in our crew battle. So if we're able to do that again, Boise State will have taken this best of 3. And we are going to go straight into our game right after the intro here. No, actually, the game just ended, so we are going to go, we're going to see what the results of that are here in a second. I'm your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me tonight to call all of the action is Audrey Runa Norris. So, are there any kind of hero picks you're looking for in round 2?
Oh boy, well, I mean, I'm going to be interested to see if they do Ganondorf again, because we didn't get to see a lot of Ganondorf last time, and I'd be really curious to see how that actually goes now that we get to see it potentially get to see it a little bit more. I don't know. We'll find out.
So as soon as we kind of get into our next game, we'll cut immediately from casters and get straight into that game. But until then, Ganondorf. Why would you like to see Ganondorf?
Like we were talking about a little bit earlier, he's just a very interesting character because he's very slow and he's very deadly. You have to be super careful about avoiding him. And in addition to that, the way his moves synergize it's very entertaining to watch. He does have a very bad recovery, but when he's on the stage and he has you, you have to, you're done. You have to, you can't let him get you, or that's kind of it. And he's a very oppressive character in that way, so you have to be very good about avoiding the traps that let him grab you. So it'll be really interesting to see if that actually plays out like that in this game mode.
I do think, so we've highlighted a lot of heavy characters. Are there any super, super fast characters that you would like to highlight?
Let's see. Well, we saw Steve, which was super light.
Super nice.
And let's see. I'm trying to think of another really good light character. I don't know. I can't think of another one. Steve was really fun to watch, and that was...
Steve was definitely, yeah.
It was kind of, I felt kind of bad for Steve at times because they were facing off against a lot of heavy characters, and that is always really dangerous for light characters. But, yeah, I'm not fully sure. But it sounds like we're getting into games, so...
And lots of the characters that we were saying were, heavy and fast. And I mean, heavy and slow. King DDD going in versus Captain Falcon, 8-10 here. And it looks like as we go in, Texas Wesleyan, they're kind of poking each other in the middle, 30-10. Not a huge advantage for King DDD to have. Ooh. Captain Falcon is just getting chained right now. Chain hit. Even though King DDD is slow, but just keeps chaining him in as we go back into the middle. Ooh, gonna hit him with that hammer, 32 to 98. The gap is widening.
Yeah, Falcon would do a really solid block there, otherwise that spike from DDD would have hit him. But DDD does just turn around and does the belly flop, knocking Falcon off the side, now making it 3-2 in Boise State's favor with 32% on DDD. That's not a lot for a heavy character to have to really worry about.
We need to get in the hundreds before the heavy characters start worrying, especially with King DDD's amazing recovery that we just saw. And then Captain Falcon is getting that percentage up there, 104. Down King DDD needs to be a little bit concerned, kind of getting camped on the side there. Captain Falcon is not able to keep DDD on the side. Now it is DDD that is in the middle.
Yeah, DDD is just waiting there as Falcon keeps blocking, trying to anticipate those spikes. Gets a really solid punch in there to try and keep DDD off the side with a solid smash down into the bottom there.
That was clean, just stuck his leg out and sent Triple D down. Now it is 61-0. The advantage is in DDD's favor, where Texas Wesleyan and Boise State are 8-8.
DDD getting a solid combo off of Falcon there, almost launching him off the edge, but not enough just yet.
So as we go in, Captain Falcon's getting that other combo there with the knee, sending King DDD over to the edge. King DDD has the recovery. He's going to be able to get us now more towards the middle than Captain Falcon, maybe trying to get some distance, maybe send Captain Falcon off at 125. Oh, there it is. Ooh, the dishonor hitting the screen.
Right into the screen.
That's the first screen hit we've seen all night. Love to see it here. Now that breaks the tie at 7-8. Boise State up 1. King DDD 112% though, so we might not have that lead from. Oh! Better recovery.
The disrespect.
Better recovery
DDD.
wins. Yeah.
Man, that was, I don't know how I felt about that one. That was great, but also terrifying.
The BM Penguin, better recovery wins. King DDD knows that he wins those ledge things. What a fantastic leverage of King DDD's recovery. Do you have any other thoughts to add after that match?
Man, that was really interesting. The Falcon was doing such a good job blocking the spikes. He did not let DDD get that combo off. Like, he did get some really good hammer, like, action there where he was able to just bonk Falcon off the edge, but Falcon was absolutely not having any of the spikes. He did not want to get knocked off like that there.
And I will say King DDD doesn't have an amazingly huge advantage going into this. I mean, we see it's pretty close. The tie is not there, but King DDD only has 2 as opposed to like a perfect matchup or anything like that. And in this highlight, we see King DDD and Captain Falcon kind of like juggling each other in the air a little bit, 0 to 112. That's how he got him off. He sucked him in, and I was going to say, I thought that part.
Okay, yeah, no. That's why I was terrified, because I was like, no, I didn't even. How did he hit that?
Both down.
I thought that's what I thought. I thought, oh, they're both going down, and then DDD was like, nah, you can just go over there, and I'm gonna go up here. And I was like, oh, okay.
Because they both had the opportunity to recover.
Oh, absolutely.
We see the Captain Falcon recovery come up. We see the King DDD recovery come up. King DDD makes it, and Captain Falcon doesn't. What a glory! I think that's probably my favorite win of the night.
That was really funny. It was so
far,
good.
I'm very excited to see more of the Penguin.
Oh, yeah. The DDD combos were really good in that match, and I hope he just keeps rolling forward with that. And maybe, maybe he'll grab another person and throw him off the ledge again. Well, who knows?
We would love to dishonor, but you need to be careful, making sure that the people with the recovery, your recovery is strong. Oh. And actually, a stronger recovery than K-Rule is going to be pretty hard to find.
That's true. With the helicopter hat, you do have to be, or I guess just the helicopter hat, you have to be really careful about that. With the reset. Taunting a little bit before the beginning. Starts off with a solid hat throw as DDD's just waiting to get a hit in. Does manage to get a solid combo in there as K-Rule then comes down with the belly slam.
Looks like as we go around here, they're kind of heavy versus heavy. Bomb. You see the stage shaking with every single time one of them lands. 61 to 31 point going in here. K-Rule using the spacing, using the cannon, using the crown there. 96 to 43. King DDD still does have the advantage, though. Going to send that spike out there. K-Rule is going to block that. Texas Wesleyan 6 to Boise State's 8.
Oh, and with a solid catch there on the DDD, managing to knock him off there for a second. K-Rule is just waiting for him to come back again. Oh, just barely missing each other for a bit there. But the solid hammer just, wow, he's stunned to take him off the stage there.
Absolutely, and there was absolutely nothing K-Rule could have done to have stopped that. 20% to 81%, and that advantage is getting bigger and bigger. Man, K-Rule's just getting smacked right now by King DDD in terms of percentage. Trying to get a little bit of space is going to get eaten and immediately spat back out. Gonna block that hammer hit, though.
Yeah, pushing him off the edge again, trying to get another solid over.
Same
Oh, his destruction was his own there.
Definitely, as we're going to knock King DDD into the ground and then into the air. There are some attempts at juggling coming out here. King DDD has landed safely back on the ground, though, and is getting some percentage onto that K-roll. This DDD just feels kind of oppressive right now as both of these heroes are going at each other, stage shaking. Gonna bop him, gonna spin him out on the middle of the stage, and is going to get crowned in the middle, 60 to 161. That's 100% difference, but with heavies, doesn't really matter.
Oh, and there's a stun off. There we go.
Same thing. Each one of them has managed to do it. Now we are 1 stock to 1 stock. Texas Wesleyan 4 to Boise State 7 overall.
Ooh, really solid hammer from DDD there, able to knock him a little bit off the side, though not enough to actually get King K. Rool out with that recovery that we talked about.
Then as we go in, gonna get that hammer hit again, staying in the upper left-hand corner, trying to, K. Rool has that amazing recovery. So you see him going off the map, he's right back into the middle, waiting for that crown to come back. It's back. He's bopping DDD, even at a massive percentage. High, he's still smacking, and it looks like that recovery is going to be enough to go in. K. Rool can't really be aggressive there. It's going to get eliminated. Now Texas Wesleyan 3 to Boise State 7. Do you have final thoughts on that match?
Just oh man, poor K. Rool there. I feel like that he would have had a much better chance there if he didn't accidentally knock DDD upwards when he went down.
Instead of down.
The trade probably could have helped them out a little bit there because they were playing really well, and then unfortunately the fact that he lost a stock there and DDD, who very much like could have gone down there and probably should have, was able to get out of it scot-free.
Definitely. And just before we get into our final match with King DDD, we do need to address one very important question. Do you think he's a penguin or do you think he's something else?
Oh man. He looks like a penguin. He's so chubby, though. I mean, I think he's a penguin. I mean, unless he's some fictional creature we don't know about, he's a penguin. There's no way.
Yes, he would be the Kirby's universe.
What else would he be? A duck? I don't know. Like,
I don't like the image of a duck being bigger than a human.
I don't know, man.
I'm slightly more okay with it because, you know, some penguins are like 5 foot tall and like bigger, right? Which is right about here,
hey,
right?
If you've ever been to the Boise Zoo, you'll see all the like comparison ones there where they have like as many penguins as they could find, just the sizes for them. No, I mean, like, the reason I said duck, because like the bill, like,
yeah, it looks more duck than penguin. The bill does, but everything else, he's so chubby and he's got
the pattern.
Got little mittens.
You know, now that you point that out, I'm a little afraid of the duck imagery as well. But like, I can't think of anything else. At least he's not a goose. That would be terrifying. I hate. Oh, geese are so mean.
He has no neck. He can't be a goose because they have the big And so now that we've answered that question, we affectionately think King DDD is a penguin going into this next match. We should be able to get into our next match as soon as it is available, but we have a little bit of time before we get in that, give the players a little bit of a reset, kind of a chance to establish themselves. Are there any heroes that distinctly stick out to you as somebody that might counter King DDD?
DDD is a really heavy character, like we keep talking about, and so it's, I mean, some light characters have a lot of really strong attacks, which is what you need when you're dealing with a heavy character. Either you need to be hitting them more often than you are like being hit, or you have to be using abilities that are strong enough to get their percentage up before they can get you off. So I think either just like one of the light characters that have really strong abilities, or you're going to need another heavy character who can just outlast DDD, because otherwise he's just going to sit there, like as we saw at about like, let's see, it was like 168 I think when he finally got knocked off, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So it'll be really interesting. I can't think of a specific character that I think would be really good at it, but it just needs to be someone who can outlast him.
The return of the Sephiroth, perhaps?
Maybe.
I mean, we would love to see that. And Sephiroth is just, you know, beyond just the way he moves being very interesting. We can talk about the fact that he's a medium-heavy character, and he does have a reasonable amount of range. However, he doesn't have any projectiles that are similar to the spike, like to lob back at King DDD. Or
the spike is dangerous.
The spike is very dangerous.
Yeah. If you're not, and like, even if you don't get hit by it, it just stalls you. So like, it's definitely going to be a challenge, because DDD, that's been his favorite thing. Hit you with the hammer, spike. In the air, spike. You just don't know, like, you have to be watching it.
Or even as the King DDD is trying to approach Spike, and it looks like we have Captain Falcon again, who seems to be a pretty good pick here, and actually seems to be knocking up the percentage on King DDD just too fast. As we go around here, there's the Spike helping. The dishonor! He did it again!
I think
No,
that's
wait,
the
that was the
replay.
replay. That was the replay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, we were just seeing the percentage go up and up. I have been debated once again. I was so excited to see it done to him again. I was just too ready.
It was a beautiful clip, but it was nice to see it again because, again, it just illustrated our point about DDD where you have to be so careful with him. And although Falcon, really strong attacks, if he wasn't actually able to land any, he was just going to get knocked off the stage, and that was it kind of thing.
Now that we've seen that highlight of Captain Falcon, though, I'd like to propose a new counter. And I think Captain Falcon might be the DDD counter because he's fast and he hits hard. Or you could just go heavy to heavy at Ganondorf versus King DDD.
As we've been talking about him, let's see what he does. Gotta reset the stocks first.
Gotta even things out just a little bit. Texas Wesleyan has 3, Boise State has 7. So this is an uphill battle for the Ganondorf. This might be the last we see of him if this King DDD 3-1 sweeps.
He's getting some really solid hits off already, so although Ganondorf does have the stock advantage, he's got to be really careful because DDD is just not letting it up and does hit him with the spike there. Yep.
Very, very dangerous, just like you were talking about. Might actually hit him again. Ooh, Ganondorf is just not fast enough to get out of the way of that. King DDD is kind of keeping him on these ledges, is going to smack him down, send him up, try some juggling action. Not quite fast enough to get there, not quite going to hit him with the spike, but is going to send him up into the... Ooh, that is a almost KO. We see that there. Just King DDD needs to get one more big hit in there. There it is, 3 heads, a spike. Spike is going to miss. And it looks like that spike, nope, that spike is going to be dodged through, and the King DDD is going to ground pound Ganondorf right out of there.
Yeah, Ganondorf hasn't managed to get a hit on DDD yet either. As I say that, of course, he does get the hit. So he is starting to turn it around, able to get a few blows on him, but the spike does hit him again, allowing DDD to get back up on that stage and push forward again.
10% for each hit, fantastic. 81 to 39 here. We see the spike get hit with, again, 94 to 39. Texas Wesleyan only has these final 2 stocks that we see on the board. 119 and climbing. Ooh, one more. Man, that is 7 stock that Texas Wesleyan is going to have to get through if they want this. This Ganondorf has got to, he's looking over there to kind of like see what he can do. King DDD's just kind of smacking him right now, taking away the percentage advantage that Ganondorf briefly had.
Solid kick from Ganondorf there, though, preventing the spike from actually hitting him this time. Unfortunately, he is going to get launched off the side by DDD as another spike does come towards him. And he does get hit by this one as DDD is trying his best to keep him off the stage before knocking him out.
Goodbye.
Ending the
Goodbye,
game.
Ganondorf and Boise State. It looks like since they won the first round, then winning the second round, this does mean that Boise State is going to win round 1 of NACE. That is Texas Wesleyan, Boise State coming out on top in this matchup here tonight. So as we're in this victory screen, do you have any kind of like final thoughts to add?
You know, in the first round, we were really impressed about that Sephiroth. Like, it was a really good gameplay. But
Yep.
after this second round, man, DDD there, that was some really, really solid plays from him. Just really good combos. He did such a good job of preventing the other player from, like, managing to get attacks on him. And that was just really impressive to watch there for a while.
So, which segues really, really nicely into our player of the game discussion. So we have the hare or the penguin? Who are you feeling?
You know, I was feeling the hair, but I kind of like the penguin idea now. Just like after that like Falcon match and then the King K. Rool match, penguin. You know, penguin, duck, whatever he is.
Penguin, ooh, I hope he's not a duck. Don't put that in my head, Runa. And so, here is the big reveal. That looks like King DDD there. JC, it looks like they're going to be our ICCU player of the game. And the player of the game is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. JC Leadog is the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. And what a fantastic performance by them on the DDD. I gotta say, that taking them off the edge and then using your recovery to get up, just the right amount of dishonor and skill.
You know, and that's one of the things in Smash that's really important. Like, when you watch a lot of competitive play outside of, like, what we've watched here, like, not college competitive, like, from what I've watched, at least, a lot of it happens like that. Like, it's a lot about how you can recover off the edge and how you can get the other people off the edge, because percentage doesn't matter as much if you can just get them off the ledge and prevent them from recovering. So the way that he was playing there was really good and was actually really different from a lot of the matches that we had seen before. So he was doing a really good job of just keeping them away and keeping them off the safe space and just making sure that anytime that he did get them off the ledge, he was trying to follow it up as aggressively as possible.
Before we wrap up with our top 5, do you have any additional thoughts to add?
I think that overall, we had some really solid plays. I'm so happy about the comeback for the Wario as well. Just it was really, the Falcon, the first match was just really oppressive on him, just keeping him from being able to really get good value out of his abilities. But then when he came back for Cloud, he was able to really effectively manage Cloud, and I think that was just part of because of Falcon has so many good dash-up charge attacks, and Cloud has some solid ones too, but he does have to charge them up, and he has to be more careful about it, giving Wario some really solid openings for his own abilities.
Captain Falcon is fast and hits hard.
It's true. That's what he does.
Great job. He's fast and hits hard. People's kneecap. We're going to be referencing that for the rest of the Smash season. But before we even, get to the rest of the Smash season, we do have our top 5 plays, which are presented by the Idaho Army National Guard. The Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State esports. Top plays are presented, of course, by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming and be sure to join us for all the Smash-tastic action the rest of the week. Comes out since Captain Falcon flying. Falcon's going to chase Wario down. Neither side is able to get a lot of juggling. Both go flying to opposite sides of the map. Captain Falcon's looking for that recovery. Not going to walk it right into that pump. Wario tried. Wario did not get it. Now both attacks are kind of... There was a little bit of poking there. Wario goes flying, is unable to get the recovery. No! He gets it! Fantastic job! CDD just feels kind of oppressive right now as both of these heroes are going at each other, stage shaking. Gonna bop him, gonna spin him out on the middle of the stage, and is going to get crowned in the middle, 60 to 161. That's 100% difference, but with heavies, doesn't really matter.
Oh, and there's a stun off. There we go.
Same thing, each one. Captain Falcon is just getting chained right now. Chain hit. Even though King DD is slow, but just keeps chaining him in as we go back into the middle. Ooh, gonna hit him with that hammer. 32 to 98. The gap is widening.
Yeah, Falcon would do a really solid block there. Otherwise, that spike from DDD would have hit him. But DDD does just turn around and does the best. Sephiroth is just not letting Cloud back on stage there, and he's keeping him off guard right now, just not letting him get that limit off, though he does have to be careful because it is active and Cloud could use it. But he isn't just letting him get near him right now, using that longsword to his advantage and blocking it. There he goes, launching him off the side again. Right into the screen.
That's the first screen hit we've seen all night. Love to see it here. Now that breaks the tie at 7 to 8. Boise State up 1. King DDD 112% though, so we might not have that lead from. Oh! Better recovery.
The disrespect.
Better recovery wins. Yeah.